Alrighty, hello everybody, and welcome back to the Mania Squid Game Special Game. We're winding down this very exciting week and some interesting surprises so far, as we have seen in the past couple of hours. But we're rolling right along, right into the match. We've got cheese7414 going up against 1Nuttelinha1 to see who advances to round 3. As always, if you have been following along, red team being the ones chosen by the wheel, blue team being the ones chosen by their red opponents. As always, my name is Sparky, and I am joined in the commentary booth this time by none other than Dynascape. Dyna, how you doing?
I'm doing just fine, Sparky. Very excited to see these two played out, and most importantly, see how many cheese puns I can fit into this match.
Oh, I'm pretty sure they're going to be very good as we roll right along. The players already did their protects and bans. We're already into the first pick. A little bit of setting up, delaying the initial stream, but love to see the players ready to get into the thick of the action. They're already into Silly Winnie Rice 4 here, and we see Nuttelinha, despite having an accuracy deficit, holding on to the combo advantage at the moment, able to get a pretty substantial amount of time up over that 400 combo cap to establish a bit of a lead here as we make our way into the second third of this chart.
Yeah, and I think cheese7414, as we get that synchronized drop, kind of did have the advantage going into this match on more physical picks. I was going to suggest if we had seen during that pick and ban protect phase, suggest that Cheese go for the Rice picks, and it seems like they did. They did get the first pick. However, Nuttelinha actually doing just fine on this, matching with Cheese and even having a substantial lead of 10,000 points.
Yeah, for sure. A couple of trades there in the middle, like you mentioned, that synchronized miss only helping Nuttelinha for the moment. Cheese getting an extra drop after that section to help keep Nuttelinha in the lead as we try and keep everything in sync here. As always, Bancho trying its best to throw a bit of a spanner in the works, but we're moving our way into the last quarter of the chart. About 400% the advantage for Cheese as Nuttelinha finds the drop here going into the last section, and that's going to bring Cheese back into the equation here.
Exactly. Big drop by Nuttelinha, and especially at such a critical moment in the map. You see here as they try to get back up to that combo cap, Cheese will capitalize, and that bar will turn red. Another drop by them, so even more so, Cheese seems to be dominating this back half of the map.
Yeah, they had the accuracy advantage throughout basically the majority of this chart once we had tuned in, and that really helped bolster their charge back into the lead, especially with Nuttelinha finding a couple of drops here at the end, and Cheese is going to be able to defend their first pick to make it 1-0.
Yeah, I think a lot of Nuttelinha's early lead came from early drops by Cheese that I think just untraded for the most part, but it really showed at the end. The MA difference as well as the 200s coming out from Nuttelinha really solidified Cheese's lead at the end of things. So Cheese is going to go up 1-0, but Nuttelinha is going to get their pick next.
Yeah, for sure. And now we're officially into the stream. We did miss the protect and ban phase. We can just do a quick little recap. So just to recap, it was a really close roll. Cheese winning it out 47-41. And it looked like they opted to pick first. So it was LN2, the protect for Nuttelinha. Looks like they're going to be focusing more on this bottom half of the pool. Meanwhile, Cheese did protect Rice 2, so blinded by light. And then the bans were Speedum and Muso Seiso, so Hybrid 1 getting banned out as well. So a bit of a balanced match between these two. You imagine Cheese going to opt to go for blinded by light, you would imagine, once it's their pick, and Nuttelinha, no surprise, going to go for their protect right out of the gate here in the shorter format.
Yeah, not a lot of time to mount a comeback if you are down 0-1 and you don't have that first pick. That first pick of yours can be the last pick, so you really do need to bring out that protect early on.
Yeah, it does really change the ban pick strategy when you do have these really short formats, and we're now diving on into it. Both players diving down into the low 99% and starting to take diverging paths, actually. As I said, Cheese finding the first slider break of the map, going to drop them down into that 98% range, along with Nuttelinha as they claw their way back out into the 99% mark to start this map off. Not a long one by any stretch of the imagination, so all these slider breaks and misses are going to really compound if they start to add up here.
Yeah, I'd say both these players are pretty even when it comes to LN. Just maybe the skill set difference might win you the map in the end, but these tight inverse gaps really proving tough for both these players to act.
Yeah, for sure. As we see 1Nuttelinha finally dropping their FC, going to give Cheese the advantage once again. And we're seeing a bit of resurgence of Rice 4 as Cheese does trade back on this bit of a break section before diving back into this 3-column inverse. Holding on to the accuracy advantage for the moment, but it's only about 0.1%, so definitely not out of the woods. And especially with those drops, they're trading this lead back and forth like if it's a hot potato right now.
Oh yeah, for sure. And there's not a lot of time left in this map. Someone needs to make a play and make it happen right now. I mean, we're already 2/3 of the way in. The map is less than 2 minutes long, and with this map, I don't foresee anyone taking a huge drop. It seems like both players are pretty comfortable. It's just that but that drop by 1Nuttelinha might switch things up for Cheese.
Yeah, it hands the lead back over for the moment, but we're seeing those UR bars super spread apart. I feel like both these players are trying to hold on to the combo for as long as they physically can, and Cheese finding a huge drop, gonna drop their accuracy and that score lead back over to 1Nuttelinha at the last moment while Cheese releases. And 1Nuttelinha hangs on 4,000 points to margin between the two of them, and they notch it up 1-1.
Oh man, that last Jack coordination section that just creeps up on you and surprises you, catching Cheese off guard. But they can't feel too blue just yet, as it is their pick. It is 1-1, so they gotta make it count.
Yeah, for sure. So it'll be very interesting if both these players win their next picks. Then I mean, we're gonna have to go into that tiebreaker right away. So unsurprising, Cheese gonna play it safe here, go for the protect in response. Blinded by Light gonna be the next pick to come out.
Yeah, I'm just kind of surprised that Blinded by Light is coming out. I think that with 1Nuttelinha banning Speedo, maybe they could have maybe felt more comfortable on punishment. However, still, it is quite physical, and judging by 1Nuttelinha's first game scores, they did get 84th and 76th place on Rice 1 and 2 respectively. It seems like they just aren't really up to snuff when it comes to very physical things, so Cheese is probably hoping to capitalize on that and try to get a good point.
For sure. I think this is what, 255 BPM. Relatively straightforward jump stream. Not a lot of real awkward snappings to deal with in this chart. Maybe just some broken up jumps here and there, but nothing really too challenging. It's just a matter of getting speed capped at the end of the day.
And I do think that the stamina component might play a big factor as well. Usually when it happens to lower ranked players and they face these physical Rice picks in the pool, you know, they can hold on for like maybe a minute and a half, but once you start ticking into that 2.5 minute mark or 3 minutes like this map, they do find a lot of drops, as seen by Alexire in the show match last night.
Yeah, it can definitely take you for a bit of a ride. So gonna be up to 1Nuttelinha to hang on for as long as possible, try and capitalize on any potential mistakes coming out of Cheese, because when it does get to this BPM, reading does become a bit of an issue as well, along with the physical stamina element of charts like this. So remains to be seen. An opportunity presenting itself. See who capitalizes on it.
Pretty tame start, but the jump stream is finally coming in, and Cheese seems to be doing a lot better than 1Nuttelinha. 1Nuttelinha is dropping a lot of early grades as well as some late ones, pretty spread out in the UR bar here, hanging around a 99%.
Yeah, I think the situation presents itself where you're trying to read your way through those patterns. You start to really crush the patterns, but Cheese actually finding the first drop between the two players, and 1Nuttelinha is coming right back up. Both players in that 99.3 range, and 1Nuttelinha currently holding on to the lead by virtue of this FC.
Yeah, thankfully there's a lot of jump jacks or broken broken jump streams to kind of save space and maybe save a little bit of stamina for 1Nuttelinha. It's not getting to the thick of it just yet, however, time will tell if they can hold up.
And this gives them a bit of a cushion to work with, but this is a surmountable lead for Cheese. It's usually about 2 to 3/10% of an advantage that you need to overcome clean misses. And there it is. There's a drop from 1Nuttelinha. As soon as that jump stream started to ramp right back up, a lot of the 3-note chords transitioning out of those sections, catching them out here, and that's gonna widen this gap a little bit. 4/10s and a couple of misses to boot in favor of Cheese going into the back half of this chart.
Yeah, even a little miss on the jump jacks on the transition out, that's gonna hurt quite a bit as well. And trying to get back up to the combo cap with 1Nuttelinha, Cheese is actually gaining on accuracy as this chart goes on. I think started off at around a 99.2, finally works their way up to a 99.6, and you saw that bar switch immediately to red as soon as 1Nuttelinha had that second drop. So it is a, oh wow, that is a huge miss from Cheese. Still a couple more needed for 1Nuttelinha to be able to come back from this, but it is a start.
Yeah, cutting it a little close here at the end does give 1Nuttelinha a bit of a lifeline to work with, but as soon as Cheese crosses this 400 combo cap, you should start to see his lead start to extend back in their favor by virtue of the fact that they're still 0.3% ahead of their opponent, or at least mitigate some of the bleeding that they were doing. So a quarter of the map left to go. They're not out of the woods just yet. Haven't secured this point. And there's a slider break on the transition. Those LNs, not the most trivial to run through, but if you're trying to maintain concentration, those are the easiest spots to find drops on. And now the lead shifts over to 1Nuttelinha with an eighth of the map left to go.
And perfection is needed from 1Nuttelinha for the rest of this map. I said something about the stamina component. Do they still have gas in the tank to finish off this map strongly? And it doesn't seem so. One break will do it. Cheese is going to regain the lead, and this map is closing off. We're going to have to see who is going to finish strong.
One last real major jump stream section to make their way through. Both players making it through successfully. 1Nuttelinha about to cross, actually not enough time to cross the 400 combo cap, and I think that last miss was one too much to bear as Cheese, without a fight, or with a heavy fight, takes that second point.
Yeah, I mean, same miscount. Just again, those 200s. It was very, very close for the most of it. I think Cheese's misses were way more spread out than 1Nuttelinha's, which gives into the fact that Cheese won by such a little margin, only 5k points. But a win is a win. They are going to take it to match point for themselves. 1Nuttelinha up to bat for their pick.
Yeah, wasting no time. LN1 is going to be the pick from them. Maybe detecting that they might have an edge on the LN, sticking to their guns.
Definitely gonna be close, I feel. Just like much of these other maps, both players very neck and neck when it comes to their skill sets and their respective respective skills. But press start, bit of a kitchen sink thrown at you. There is a lot going on, lots of inverse, lots of coordination, lots of releases, so we're gonna have to see who's the more well-rounded LN player out of these two.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of elements to juggle through on a chart like this. A lot of coordination, a lot of release elements, as to be expected with a Juan Crystal map. Especially one of the harder end ones that they produce. So it's gonna be interesting to see who hangs on. Might be an instance where we see a bit of combo gaming being implemented to try and make your way through some of these sections, especially once the drops really hit.
I think one thing that's very important in this map is the minimization of your 200s. As we've said before, there's so many staggered releases in this map, and just having to minimize the amount of damage you can sustain throughout the map is such an important factor, and I think will really seal the deal for the better player And as we can see here, Cheese actually taking a bit more damage when it comes to accuracy, 99.3 as compared to Nuttelinha's 99.5. Things can change though. There are a lot of key eyes, especially the streamy section. Nuttelinha starts it off with the first break.
Yeah, and a significant accuracy drop to boot as well. I think that was just a full-fledged miss instead of a slider break. So gonna drop him down below Cheese's accuracy, about a 0.1% separating these two players, but Cheese still holding on to the FC for the moment as we make our way through the build-up into the first drop. There's so many intrinsic mini jacks littered throughout this section before you get into those real quote-unquote stream section afterwards, that it's very easy to maybe just finger lock or note lock and lose your combo, but both players making it through relatively unscathed, holding steady at their respective accuracies as we make our way into the second half of the chart. Cheese still ahead by the tiniest of margins at the moment by virtue of that FC.
And the accuracies are so close between them, only about a 0.1% difference. Again, one drop can really seal it, and that FC by Cheese is really helping them out here. It's just, it gets so scary when the stream parts come in, because if you misread it once, you can drop like 0.5%.
Yeah, for sure. Thankfully, score v2 column blocking isn't a thing anymore. I think this map would be a lot more dangerous if that was still a thing. But oh, there it is, the trade back from Cheese going into the last quarter of the chart. Might be a little too late. Another one might do some damage now, but they've built up a bit of a cushion here by virtue of the fact that they were able to hold on to that combo for so long. But now 1Nuttelinha has a pretty substantial combo to work with on their side. They just got to pick this accuracy up and they can start chipping away at this lead.
Yeah, thank goodness for Cheese that break was so clean. But they are going to find another one, and that bar is going to start to slide blue as they try to get back up to the combo cap.
Yeah, and it was on the transition into this density. It would have been very nice to be up over that 400 combo cap to get full credit for these judgments, but thankfully able to get back up over it relatively easily. But the damage might already be done. There's no trade back from 1Nuttelinha so far. There's still quite a significant portion of the map to read through, despite the fact that we're making it to the end, handling all these dense 3-column streams with the anchors on the outer columns. And it looks like 1Nuttelinha is going to be able to hang on. We're going to tiebreaker in this match. Oh, those ratios are scary close.
Yeah, almost the same 200s, the same misses, and even the MA, it really was neck and neck. Just 1Nuttelinha was the better player at the moment. And so we do get to the tiebreaker, and we're gonna have to see which one of these two wants the cheddar more.
For sure, it is time to get this party started. Not the longest map in this pool, by I think 10 seconds, but it is definitely one of the hardest maps in this pool. It is an MWC Classic, the full version of an MWC Classic, a classic Lemon Guy hybrid as well. Very technical, very back and forth in terms of what it's asking from you. A lot of very complicated LN sections to complement an assortment of disgusting rice patterns.
Yeah, and the physicality required is a pretty high bar. I mean, can you jack 170? Can you hit dump streams? Can you transition in and out of full LN sections? I mean, it really is a test of every skill set, and both players need to really be up to the task.
For sure, so far very well played from both players. The only downside is the fact that we haven't seen their hybrid performances. So we know Cheese has an advantage in the rice. We know 1Nuttelinha has an advantage in the LNs. What's going to happen when you combine both elements together?
Yeah, we are going to have to see. I think Cheese did ban Hybrid 1 in the match, so maybe a bit undercooked when it comes to hybrids, maybe not feeling it, doesn't like transitioning out of those sections, but we'll have to see, because as for now, 1Nuttelinha is going to take a pretty early lead.
Yeah, I feel like when it comes to these quote-unquote simpler structures, 1Nuttelinha definitely has had the accuracy advantage, but when the physical elements start to come into play, Cheese has really started to build back up, and both players handling those mini jacks very nicely to transition into that speed part as well as we get into the first drop, and they are virtually neck and neck. It is a 1/10% separating both these players, but Nuttelinha is ahead by sheer virtue of that accuracy alone.
Thankfully, this map is 5 minutes long. 1Nuttelinha did ban speed him. Again, the stamina component might hit them in the gut in the back half of the map, but for now, they are going to take the first drop, as Cheese still has a bit of an accuracy lead over 1Nuttelinha. It's not much, 0.1%. However, the miss is going to help it, and it's finally traded back by Cheese.
Yeah, slider break versus a miss, but I think the cleanliness of those drops gonna be favoring Nuttelinha at the moment, as Cheese finds another drop in this LN section. So Nuttelinha really capitalizing on this LN section and able to withstand some of the rise bursts in between the transitions, and now they've pulled a 0.2% advantage along with an extra miss to boot.
Yeah, I've been very surprised with Nuttelinha's performance when it comes to those speedy sections transitioning out of the LNs, but it's going to take a pretty random drop. Doesn't hurt too much because it was very clean. However, damage is going to start to trickle in.
Yeah, you want to mitigate those drops in the breaks as much as possible, but maybe just trying to reorient themselves because they know what to expect from here on out. It's going to be a non-stop gauntlet for the back half, and maybe in that preparation just overthinking what they needed to do and just fumbling it a little bit, as both of them find another synchronized miss in the build-up this time.
Yeah, as you like to say, no harm, no foul, because both players are missing at the same time, so no real score is going to be made here from either side. However, both players are going to be up to the combo cap yet again, so it really does come down to who can drop next, and that is going to be Cheese. A little bit more leeway is made for 1Nuttelinha for this back half of the map.
Yeah, those 3-column LN chords just catching Cheese out, maybe not respecting them too much when it comes to releases, and causing another slider break here. Another one to boot as we get back into the short inverse sections. Nuttelinha does trade it back, but that is 2-1 in terms of the trade, favoring Nuttelinha for the moment and keeping that miss relatively clean. Still in the 99.2 range. Cheese dropping down below the 99% mark, as we're talking about that stamina element coming into play for Nuttelinha, but Cheese might actually be the one feeling the effects of it, trying to make their way through these LN sections as best as they can, and really losing control here. Last quarter of the map still have to go.
Yeah, it might just be a huge case of reading fatigue. It just can't seem to be, they can't seem to find a break in the LN sections. Just a lot of misses, very dirty by them. And with this map, it's a pretty easy end. There's a big lull in the last couple of measures of the map, so something needs to be done now in order for Cheese to take this map back in their hands.
Yeah, and as we transition back into those mini jacks, both players trading it. Cheese finding the first drop, Nuttelinha answering in return, but these trades only help Nuttelinha for the moment. They have eked out a 30,000 point advantage going into the last eighth of the chart, and like you were saying, a lot of the real density is over. It's just this outro. It's broken jump stream with a couple of LNs littered into boots, so maybe an opportunity for Cheese to try and catch up here, but it might be too little too late here.
And we finally start to settle down, the dust falling to the floor, and 1Nuttelinha is going to find themselves with a 25k point difference. It is way too much for Cheese to catch up in the dregs of the map. We're going to see 1Nuttelinha take it.
So the challenged usurps the challenger and punches their ticket into the third round. 1Nuttelinha with the upset over Cheese in this matchup. Commiserations to Cheese. They put up a valiant effort, just a little bit too much to overcome in the end.
Yeah, it was a very good attempt by Cheese, but 1Nuttelinha actually showing that they are the cream cheese of the crop. They are going to survive to the third game in Squid Games.
Gotta breathe there as we say goodbye to Cheese, a valiant competitor, but falls here to 1Nuttelinha, and that just means we only have 2 matches left this week, and we got Dark Ekiser versus Mr. Andres going up at 22 UTC, followed shortly thereafter with Charlie72 going against Venom Cypher to round out this special game weekend. Dinah, you got anything else left to say?
No, just excited for these last two matches to be shown, and we hope you guys enjoy.
Until then, we'll catch you guys later.